YouTubers. It is 8/1/2014. Damn y'all, it's a hot motherfucker here. I hope everybody else is being cool. Anyhow, wanted to help out my journalist friend Mari Takenouchi over there in Fukushima, Japan, where her and her son are at. But this is a horrendous story that she's had to go through and endure to help people and to do right. Open questions to Twitter Inc. CEO Mr. Dick Costolo. Okay. Please excuse me for writing this open letter suddenly. Let's see if there's a date up here anywhere. Well, yeah, there is, but I can't read Japanese. It says, okay, yeah, it's 7/28/2014. There it is. See that? Let me zoom in. 7/28/2014. Okie dokie. Mari, I don't know how much longer I can keep this up for you, sweetie. I know, doing so good, rather. And it's hot. My AC went out, my TV went out, my computer went out, and I'm using one, but it's really messed up, so it's going back come Monday. So, it's to who got it for me, a blessed person. This heat is draining me, but anyway, a nice person, a really nice person. Bless her heart. She's just trying to help me out. It's not her fault this computer sucks. But anyway, I can't afford a new one, so I'll be going off air on the 4th when I mail this back to her. So hopefully she can get her money out of those a-holes at Toshiba. I talked to the frickin' head department, or the executive branch in Irvine, California, which I will shortly put those damn videos up too, so the world can know what assholes they are. Try to help somebody in my predicament. But anyway, please excuse me for writing this open letter suddenly. My name is Mari Takenouchi. My Twitter account is Mari's Contact, and I am a freelance journalist, translator, and a single mother of a 4-year-old boy. I have been harassed by countless number of Twitter users for more than 2 years for my activities calling for evacuation of Fukushima kids and pregnant women. She has a petition up for that, which I have posted under previous videos. I will post it under this one again. Please help this woman. Get this disseminated to everyone you know to help get them out of Japan, to save these children. They are suffering needlessly with Fukushima radioactive contamination, fallout, and all that. They are also trucking this cesium-134, cesium-137, tritium, plutonium, strontium-90, gamma rays, isotopes, iodide-131. I mean, the list is long, y'all. Come on, you've heard me say it a zillion times. These children need our help. Please sign the petition below and help her reach her goal to get these little lives to a safe place, be it here in America or somewhere else. Contribute, do whatever, call your representatives, call your congressmen, your senators, your state representatives, something, but somebody get off their ass and help save the children. And be they sent to Australia or some other country that is less vulnerable than what America is, because we are also getting Fukushima, but it's not, even though it's bad here, It is bad here, but anywhere is better than be there in Japan and to get the pregnant women out. So anyway, I hope you'll listen to her story. Excuse me. And quite sadly, the common points of these harassers are that they downplay the radiation effects in Fukushima, and they harass those who worry about Fukushima kids. Not only on Twitter in the summer of 2012, a strange man approached me and picked up my then 2-year-old boy, and I screamed, "I will call the police," and he ran away. Okay, recently there are even people who disclosed the picture of my neighborhood, Nimatoharu, and who even identified my apartment, Joseph Yoko, who is totally a threat for a single mother like me. Joseph Yoko and Motoharu, though many, and I hope, Mari, I'm doing you justice here. You know, my pronunciations of Japanese names leaves a lot to be desired, but I am trying my best. Though many people, including me, reported these harassers to Twitter, these accounts are strangely surviving. Though I reported the above to the local police, it would take some time for investigation. Yeah, isn't that usually how it goes? Would you please suspend above 2 accounts ASAP, since the living of my son and I are being threatened, the lives, okay, since the lives of my son and I are being threatened. Also, I would like to ask the following questions I have been wondering for a long time. 1. Since the fall of 2013, my Twitter has been behaving quite strangely as follows. Would you please check what has been the problem if there are any intruders into my Twitter account? 1A, my follower number gets constantly decreased during weekdays, though the decrease gets stopped on the weekends. I don't know what she means by that. Last week, the July 21st to the 27th, the harasser Nimatoharu disclosed my neighborhood photo, and there were many RTs, but my followers were decreased in a constant line except weekends. There is a strong doubt that some intruder is manipulating my Twitter account. Yeah, I had mine. I got barred off of mine, Mari. So I know exactly what you're going through there, girl. Okay, 1B, multiple number of my followers told me that they were automatically lifted from following my account at Marie S. Contact, or they cannot RT my tweets. 1C, my account Miss Marie's Contact is frequently automatically logged out. Yeah. 2, there are many net harassers in Japan, and maybe one of the most prominent ones is at EWA4618 with so many harassing tweets. Though there are many people reporting this person, he has been surviving. On the other hand, at Japan Wings, who has lost his ex-wife for leukemia and has been disseminating important information about Fukushima accident, was permanently suspended in December 2013. In EWA 4618's Twill log, at Japan Wings is the #1 subject of EWA 4618's harassing tweets, and myself at Marie's Contact is the #2, and then it gives a link there. I am afraid my account at Marie's Contact could be suspended soon. Why at Japan Wings, who had been harassed by at EWA 4618 got suspended, and at EWA 4618 is surviving. Okay, at Japan Wings. All right. Postscript, someone wrote in the following that a Japanese company is collecting the IP addresses of Mari Takenouchi related tweet followers. Anybody who is well versed with technical issue, please let me know. So if anybody can do that out there, please help the lady. Okay, 3 important questions to Ministry of Justice in Japan 7. On August 1, there was an answer from Ministry of Justice saying that they cannot answer the questions. Well, isn't that a damn surprise? Please take a look at the 3 very important questions, she asks. 1, there was no investigation by police, prosecutor on TEPCO executives in spite of criminal accusations by residents. However, as for me, a single mother who had visited IAEA regarding nuclear and earthquake issue before the Fukushima accident and called for evacuation of kids, saying through Twitter health hazards such as mini thyroid cancer or even leukemia are observed. Ethos is a human experiment, was actually investigated by Fukushima police and prosecutors who came all the way to Okinawa. I eventually got deferred indictment, and foreign media took up this case as a shocking news. Isn't this an unfair judicial treatment? 2. In 1996, Manju Nishimura case took place in which Mr. Shigeo Nishimura, in-house investigator of Manju fast breeder reactor accident, committed a suicide. However, X-ray photos and medical records showed that he did not jump off from the building and instead was killed, which was testified by the doctor in charge along with other forensic doctors. Surprisingly, the lawyer who was in charge of this incident took the case as a civil case instead of a criminal case, ignoring the high possibility of homicide. The police says that they would not make any move if the lawyer acted that way. I am quite shocked at the treatment of this case. Isn't it necessary to reinvestigate this case? 3. In December 1975, former Waco University professor Sunao Agassi made a research on the soil of Sendai nuclear power plant premise and found out countless number of faults and cracks in the same layer of soil, which showed inappropriateness of building a nuclear power plant in that site. Then a local farmer who worked at the boring core site confessed that he switched the core with firmer soil. After Mr. Agassi announced this whistleblower statement, he was criminally accused by an LDP-related right-winger, and the Supreme Prosecutor's Office took up the case. Then the case was taken by Tokyo Prosecutor's Office, and Mr. Agassi was investigated for 3 times and eventually non-indicted. To begin with, Kyushu Electric Company, who ordered switching the cores, should be the one to be criminally accused, and what had happened seemed to be harassment against anti-nuclear residents and scholars. Sendai nuclear power plant is said to be the one which is closest to the restart. Isn't it necessary to reinvestigate this case? Okay, Sendai nuclear power plant issue is covered in the following of my blog. And this was, okay. And this is also written in Japanese. Open questions to CIA on Japanese politicians and nuke power policy. On June 6, 2014, CIA started using Twitter. Well, they've been using it long before then, Mari. Accordingly, I wrote the two most important questions which could influence on the very survival of Japan towards CIA. To Central Intelligence Agency. Please excuse me for writing to your agency. However, the following two questions could relate to the very survival of our nation and could influence the global environment in the future, since our pro-nuclear power political leaders keeps ignoring the health hazards and restart nuclear power plants in our seismically active nation near the future. So please kindly answer the following as early as possible. Best regards, Mari Takenouchi, and a mother of a 4-year-old boy. Japanese freelance journalist, Mari, contact@gmail.com. Central Intelligence Agency. The following are the two questions. The former Yamuri president and the founder of Nippon TV, Mr. Matsutaro Shoriki, was proven to be an ex-CIA agent whose code name is Podam, according to the archive documents in the U.S., and he is known to be the father of Japanese nuclear, who strongly promoted the introduction of nuclear power to Japan. It is also a known fact that Mr. Yasuhiro Nakasone, the then member of parliament who became prime minister in the 80s, submitted nuclear power budget to the Diet only 3 days after the Bikini incident in 1954, and under the strategy of a poison neutralizes another poison. Nuclear power was introduced to Japan in the midst of anti-nuclear test sentiment. Now, after Fukushima nuclear accident, there are as many as 89 thyroid cancer and suspected cases among Fukushima children, most of who have already have metastases on their lymph nodes or even lungs. However, ignoring this grave fact, Prime Minister Abe is still promoting restart of nuclear power plants in Japan. Regarding this historical fact, doesn't CIA have any feeling of moral responsibility to have promoted the introduction of nuclear power to Japan, the A-bomb victim and a seismically most active country? 2. According to Chapter 12 of Legacy of Ashes, written by the Pulitzer winner journalist Mr. Tim Werner, Werner, it is written that the first prominent country where CIA chose for its country's leader was Japan, mentioning about Mr. Nobusuke Kishi, the former A-class wartime criminal who turned to be the prime minister with the support of CIA that had been providing financial support to the right-winged ruling party, Liberal Democratic Party, for many years since after the war into the 70s. Amazingly, it is also stated that Mr. Kishi invited the U.S. Ambassador Joseph Grew to play golf in 1942 during the wartime. It is excuse me. It is a famous story that former Class A criminal turned Prime Minister Nobusuke Kishi was a CIA agent. But had he been so since during wartime? More importantly, isn't the current Prime Minister, Shinzo Abe, whose political beliefs resemble so much to those of Mr. Kishi, including possessing nuclear weapons and promoting nuclear power even after Fukushima accident, ignoring the Fukushima children's health problems related to CIA or other U.S. intelligence agencies? I have a very strong doubt on this issue, since he introduced the specified secrecy law and has established the Japanese version of NSA. I like this woman. She's got tenacity. She got balls. Okay, in addition, in the following blog written by an anonymous person and partially translated by me, it is depicted that so many names in Japanese political and mass media societies are actually CIA agents. Okay, are these information correct or not? Okay. Well, okay, chapter 12 is a must-read to know Japanese politics. Okay. Where's the questions? Okay, I guess the rest of it's all in Japanese. I do not read. Wait a minute. Okay, is there any intention to conduct 7Q11 gene test to identify the cause of thyroid cancer and evacuate children? Any countermeasures for increasing trend of various diseases, including leukemia? On May 17, this number raised to 89 with 50 confirmed and 39 suspected, which has never been reported in major media in spite of Prime Minister Abe's visit to Fukushima Medical University. While no indictment was done on any person responsible among the government and TEPCO, what do you think of the fact that Fukushima police and prosecutor came all the way to Okinawa to investigate a freelance anti-nuke journalist who is a single mother? May 22nd, the case was dropped, yet it was deferred indictment, and I do not think this was a fair judgment considering nobody in TEPCO or the government was even investigated. And is the government trying to restart nuclear power plants that could cause another catastrophic accident in this seismic country, Japan? Before that, is there any intention for the government to retain the existing spent fuel and high-level radioactive liquid waste? In Manju fast breeder reactor Nishimura incident, a homicide was conducted, and in TEPCO, daggone it, I got something running here. And I don't know what it is. Hold up, y'all. Shit. I hate it when these damn things start up on their own. What is this? That's off. That one's going. Hold up, y'all. Shit, I think these are just a bunch of damn commercials. Okay, let me slide back up here. Where was I? While no indictment was done on any person responsible among the government and TEPCO, I know I done read this, what do you think of the fact that Fukushima police and prosecutors came all the way to Okinawa to investigate a freelance anti-nuke journalist who is a single mother? May 22nd, the case was dropped. Yet it was deferred indictment, and I do not think that it was fair judgment considering nobody in TEPCO or government was even investigated. Well, hon, that's how it does. That's how it works out. We're thrown under the bus, you know. Is the government trying to restart nuclear power plants that could cause another catastrophic accident in this seismic country, Japan? Before that, is there any intention for the government to retain the existing spent fuel and high-level radioactive liquid waste? In Manchu fast breeder reactor Nishimura incident, a homicide was conducted, and in TEPCO office, female office workers murder case. There was leftover DNA in the victim's nails, but the real criminals have not been sought by the police and the lawyers. Does the government have any intention to investigate this case or hide these murder cases related to nuclear industry? Well, probably. I would say sooner that, yeah. Okay. Oh, went too far. As for the fierce harassment against Takenouchi, isn't there any connection with the internet observers and any ministries, agencies, or consigned companies, like in the case of Mr. Mitsuno's case? Okay. The overview of the Japanese government package towards returning Fukushima residents through radiation risk communication. Well, there's Chris Busby. Okie dokie. Good guy. To whom it may concern in ministry, agencies, and government of Japan. My name is Mari Takenouchi, a freelance journalist and a translator on radiation, nuclear, and earthquake issues. I evacuated from Tokyo with my then one-year-old son to Okinawa in the afternoon of March 15th. And since I was outside in the morning of March 15th, and we got considerably sick for 2 or 3 months after that. I am not sure of the causal relationship, but I recently found that I have a Hashimoto's disease, and my thyroid is swollen double the size compared to normal. I'm so sorry, Mari. So sorry. Please allow me to give you this open question letter. However, please be reminded that this letter is related to the lives of children in contaminated areas and lives of the people and future generation, and also my son and myself's urgent issue refer to question 5 in the end, and hope you can read through till the end. I'll read through to the end, girl. The following is one of the books I translated from English to Japanese. The original title is The Pet Cow Effect. If any one of you could take a look at it, I am sure you will realize that I am not a sort of person who would spread groundless, demagogues regarding radiation hazards and nuclear issues. One of the translated books by Takenouchi. I became anti-nuclear power since I heard a scenario of station blackout in relation to Y2K issue from a U.S. scientist. Through my late acquaintance, I visited the Prime Minister's official residence with the material and met the then Cabinet Secretary Crisis Management Officer. Without reading the material, the officer kicked me out of the room, yelling at us, "Japanese nuclear power is absolutely safe. Do not bring in a weirdo." So, bet he's eating his fucking words now, yeah? However, the late Prime Minister Abuchi responded in a much better way to my letter. He himself asked a research secretary in the Cabinet Secretary Internal Affairs Council office to respond to my concerns in a proper manner, though the contents of the reply was rather forcibly assuring the safety of nuclear power. However, immediately after that, I went to Europe with the same material. Then, an energy expert in Green Party drafted a resolution only within 2 days. The resolution recommended to carefully watch nuclear power plants, chemical plants, and nuclear weapon de-alerting system over the rollover period of year 2000 to prevent any accident from computer bugs. Chemical plants. As I was told, I went around various parties, including the ruling one, to persuade. Then the resolution was unanimously passed 2 months after in the European Parliament. Since that experience, I came to have more respect to European nuclear policy and strong doubt toward Japan's nuclear policy. Okay, it gives links in here that y'all can go to. In 2002, I visited IAEA by myself to directly ask them to stop nuclear power plants in Japan in relation to earthquake. I told IAEA staff members if accident took place in Japan, the seismically active nation IAEA, the promoter of nuclear, should be in trouble. One of the staff members I met out of his office house was my colleague's acquaintance, who said the following: "Miss Takenouchi, this issue is too big to be dealt with. There are already nuclear plants built in Japan all over. I think we can do nothing unless all the people raise their voice against nuclear power. I think it could be possible that 5 million Japanese got killed due to nuclear accident hit by an earthquake. Wow. After having conversation, I even ran for local municipal election to convey this information to the public with the poster below. My pleading, why is Japan trying to operate nuclear power plant in such a seismic country, even though installed capacity can cover the maximum demand? Question 3 has not been changed even today. Mari Takenouchi's Matsudo City election poster in 2002. Okay. Quite sadly, Fukushima nuclear accident took place. After the Fukushima accident, the Bloomberg News reported an article criticizing 2 Japanese IAEA staff who did not work sufficiently for nuclear safety. And then it gives a link. One was Mr. Tomohiro Takenouchi, whom I pleaded in 2002, and another one is the incumbent Director General, Mr. Yukiya Amano. Please excuse me for listing up some names, but I really think we cannot save countless number of nameless children from nuclear disaster if we do not reveal the names of those responsible. I couldn't agree with you more, hon. In June 2013, I wrote an open question to IAEA Director General Yukiya Amano regarding the health hazards already being observed and possible catastrophic accident after the restart of nuclear power plants. However, I couldn't receive any reply from Mr. Amano. At the same time, I also reported health damages observed after Fukushima accident to Unseer by myself. Please refer to questions 1 as for the UN issue. Okay, by the way, as for question 2 below regarding ethos, I came to be aware that a program called Ethos had been conducted in Belarus after the Chernobyl accident, and the number of serious ill child patients in hospital boosted tenfolds after the program. This story was told by Dr. Michael Furnex, the professor emeritus at Basel University and former WHO advisor. I also happened to be his interpreter when he came to Japan in May of 2012. I was truly shocked when I heard that Ethos program has been underway in Fukushima and sincerely hoped for evacuation of Fukushima kids by halting such a program. Until that time, I was an active Twitter user, but since then on, I started using Twitter frantically to disseminate this information. Of course, I tweeted directly to Mr. Yoko Ando, the leader of Fukushima Ethos, who immediately blocked me and ignored me, though I asked her to do open conversations through some person. Though I was ignored, I kept sending out my message describing Fukushima Ethos as human experiment or even slow poisoning of children over a long period of time by letting even children and pregnant women to keep living in contaminated areas through various resources. In the end of January 2014, I was accused for my word, human experiment, as criminal contempt by Miss Yoko Ando. Her real name is Yoko Kamada, the leader of Fukushima Ethos. I was truly astounded that I was criminally accused for my tweets. Many people responded that this could be the precursor of the specified secrecy law to be implemented this year. I have been sending out what is going on since most Japanese media people solely ignore my case. So I have been sending out my message through Twitter, which seems to be controlled by somebody. criminal accusation against Takenouchi could be a case not only by Mrs. Ryoko Ando herself, but also involved by the state power. Many people think this way, including me. As for this case, Reporters Without Borders carried it as the top story in English and French on March 11th this year, and my case is gradually becoming an international news. I have never thought my wording of human experiment against ethos illegitimate. As a matter of fact, the leading U.S. researcher of Hiroshima, Nagasaki A-bomb survivors mentioned that he conducted human experiments using 200,000 people in the Plutonium Files, written by Aileen Wellsome, the Pulitzer-winning U.S. journalist. Jeez. Actually, we have got the results of an enormous experiment. We had the experiment involving over 200,000 people in the Nagasaki and Hiroshima areas, and I think that those results are real. I was there and I saw the people when they got sick. As a matter of fact, the renowned Dr. John Goffman, who used to be top specialist of radiation in the U.S. Atomic Commission, as well as a specialist of heart disease, mentioned radiation protection laws for the sake of nuclear power promotion is the same as license to kill. The pet cow effect. Okay, in 1986, Carl Z. Morgan, president of the ICRP for many years and the first chairman of Health Physics Society, said ICRP action delayed the prevention of very large radiation hazards, that the radiation hazards were underestimated, and that the recommended maximum permissible levels were far too high. Pet cow effect. In February 2014, package measures toward returning Fukushima residents through radiation risk communication was announced. This is so-called Ethos Japan. The following are reported to be involved in the package: Reconstruction Agency, Ministry of Environment, Cabinet Office, Food Safety Committee, Consumers Agency, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology, Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, Nuclear Regulatory Agency. Well, there you go with all the crooks there, huh? In addition, I would like to include the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications, which controls media coverage and social networking services such as Twitter. After the ethos criminal accusation, I have been continuously harassed by a lawyer who used to be a prosecutor, question 5, so I would like to include the Ministry of Justice as the address. Also included is Ministry of Justice in the Supreme Public Prosecutor's Office, since I heard that an anti-nuke geologist who was opposing the Sendai nuclear power plant was once criminally accused and was accepted by the Supreme Public Prosecutor's Office. Question 2, I also would like to ask about 2 homicide cases that could be related to Japanese nuclear lobby to National Police Agency. Also question 4, while I was being harassed by countless number of people after I raised my opposing voice against ethos, I remembered that the counselor of Reconstruction Agency, Mr. Yasuhisa Matsuno, became a big news for his harassing conducts on internet, and then it gives a link. Since this news, I was wondering, it seems to be impossible that Mr. Mizuno alone was conducting such deeds in a group-oriented society like Japan. Maybe Mr. Mizuno's case could be a tip of an iceberg, and he could have become a scapegoat to calm down the incident as a whole. Isn't there any possibility that there are people like Mr. Mizuno in Reconstruction Agency or in other agencies' ministries? Oh yeah. Also, are there any individuals and or companies who have been assigned to obstruct individuals who oppose to the package of returning Fukushima residents? Oh, you betcha. Okay, ADK, in fact, ADK had been assigned to bring down the harmful rumors regarding radiation, and in the project report it said that countermeasures on Twitter was indispensable. However, when I asked this question, ADK answered that there had been no tweets from the company office workers targeted at individuals, so I thought there could be some other companies which were assigned for this task targeting individuals. The following are my 5 questions to the concerned ministries and agencies. I sincerely hope to hear your earnest replies. The issues of the UN, including IAEA and UNSEER ICRP scholars, children in contaminated areas. 2. Ethos and the government media coverage, specified secrecy law, criminal accusation by Ethos leader. 3. The issues of earthquakes and nuclear power plants. 4. Homicide by nuclear village, Manju Nishimura case. 5. Harassment against Mari Takenouchi and her son. 5 open questions. 1. I got to take a drink of water before I go further. Okay. 1. The issues of the UN, including IAEA and UNSEER ICRP, and children in contaminated areas. Nothing worries me more than the issue of children living in contaminated areas after Fukushima accident. It may be all right for adults to choose where to live, but children cannot choose where to live. Thus, I strongly believe children should be evacuated to uncontaminated areas. However, the UNSEER had issued a report saying there is no health hazards, which worries me all the more. You have reason to be. In the beginning of 2013, I submitted a report nearly 60 pages regarding health issues and Japanese nuclear issues to respective office of the UN. In June of 2013, I visited UNSEER Communications Officer Mrs. Jawa Mohan in Vienna, Austria, and passed on my letter to the UN and IAEA and talked about 20 minutes regarding the health hazards, including myself and my son. After that, I called for writing emails to Ms. Mohan regarding health hazards already happening, and dozens of people sent her mails, including Fukushima residents who experienced some symptoms. I also sent her mails regarding the increased number of thyroid cancer, but I haven't received any reply from her yet. I wouldn't hold my breath, Mari. As widely known, the United Nations takes the position of pre-nuclear power. IAEA, directly under the 5 Nuclear State Securities Council, is a nuclear promoting organization and has the history of downplaying the effects of radiation in Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and also in Chernobyl, led by Japanese scholars. This is not a very known fact, but the former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan said in 2000, 3 million children require physical treatment from Chernobyl. However, this important report has not been shown as it should be due to the underestimation of IAEA, UNSEER, ICRP, etc. It is very important fact that Mr. Lars Erik Holm is from IAEA, ICRP, and UNSEER. It is quite prominent that scholars related to ICRP and IAEA and UNSEER have been trying to ignore the health hazards possibly caused by radiation from Fukushima nuclear accident. Currently in Fukushima, as many as 75 children have developed thyroid cancer, some with even lymph node metastases. Why doesn't the Japanese government conduct 7Q11 gene tests to identify the cause of the thyroid cancer? If it was identified as radiation as the cause, shouldn't children be evacuated to non-contaminated areas? Yes, they should. The same question had been forwarded to Mrs. Mohan or Ms. Mohan from Unseer, but I haven't received any reply. I strongly believe this issue should be handled by the government of Japan voluntarily, since no international organization would do so. With the current situation, tremendous health hazards could be inflicted upon children in contaminated areas, and quite sadly, it has already been started. Honey, you need to look up Agenda 21, okay? In addition, the dialogue seminar under FOs based on scientific ground of ICRP, Mr. Shinichi Tanaka, the director of Nuclear Safety Agency, stated, the radiation level is quite high and would be so for long, but yet residents of Fukushima need to keep living here. I think this statement sounds quite problematic. Meanwhile, Tokyo University professor Rugo or something, Hayana, etc. from Whole Body Counter team have been advocating that there have not been any internal exposure as much as to show any health effects. However, his colleague, Dr. Masaharu Subakura, whom I met in Okinawa in a seminar, confessed, I have read Dr. Bandazhevsky's paper. I feel troubled indeed. Refer to Bandazhevsky seminar in Tokyo. Okay. In his blog, Dr. Subakura acknowledged the Bandazhevsky's finding that heart abnormality starts to occur at the bodily cesium concentration of 10 to 20 becquerels. However, in Tokyo University 2013 paper, it concluded that internal doses were safe for most people since they exposed to less than 1 millisieverts. I sent the following questions to Tokyo University WBC team, which has never been replied yet. However, the internal dose of 1 millisievert to CS 30,000 becquerels body according to ICRP standard, which means 500 becquerels, 5 times as much as low-level waste material for 60 kilograms or whatever, kg adult. And in Chernobyl, there are people who died at this bodily concentration. Jeez. I had a discussion with Professor Hayano on Twitter, but he never answered my questions. What do you think of Bandazhevsky's finding? Bodily concentration of 10 becquerels starts to show heart abnormality. What do you think of Swiss Medical Weekly Bandazhevsky's findings, which says that organ concentration of children was 2 or 3 times higher than that of adults? Also, it is quite problematic that WBC study does not reflect the actual initial exposure. Scientific grounds of ICRP themselves are sometimes questionable. Dr. Jack Valentine, who had been in the post of ICRP scientific secretary for 20 years, confessed that as much as 2 orders of magnitude could be wrong on the effect of internal dose of radiation, which should be considered most in case of nuclear. The fact that ethos is relying on ICRP for its scientific ground, and Mr. Jack Rochard, the leader of Belarus Ethos, is the vice chairman of ICRP and concluded the memorandum with Fukushima Medical University. I am truly concerned that Fukushima children's health situation would be deteriorated under the collaboration of Ethos and ICRP standard. the history of international organizations such as ICRP, UNSEER, IAEA, all of which are pro-nuclear and have been downplaying the radiation effects, are well described in the following book. I also hear occurrences of leukemia in Fukushima, but I heard that Ministry of Health had stopped hospital patient survey in Fukushima and southern Miyagi prefectures after Fukushima accident. Why was it stopped? Especially as for leukemia, Professor Nobuhiko Ban, the former UNSEER advisor and the leading scholar in Fukushima ethos, repeats that there is no health problem among Fukushima children, even though he had found the developmental mechanism of leukemia only 1 or 2 years after the radiation exposure on mice due to aging of hematophiliac stem cells and alternation of genes. Yeah, they're good at lying, aren't they, Mari? I strongly believe this kind of double standard cannot be tolerated. In addition, this is related to question 5, which is less important, but Professor Ban used to call me Demarin, coined word of demagogue, and Mari, my name, under this Twitter account at Bouvery, Buvery. There was a whistleblower. As for his identity, I think his deeds cannot be regarded as that of a professor's. More than anything else, what I feel most skeptical is the booklet, Basic Information on Radiation Risks, on which Japanese government ministries, agencies rely on. For example, up to 3.8 microsieverts is said to be permissible, but this figure is 100 times more than the figure before the accident. Why could a figure 100 times larger than natural radiation, moreover only external radiation, not including internal one, be permissible? And here you have a diagram here. Okay. Hope all that showed up. Okay. Wow, we have a long way to go. I might have to make this a two-parter. On the footnote of 27, it says that cesium does not accumulate in particular organs, but is there anybody who read the thesis of Dr. Bandazhevsky? Cesium does accumulate in thyroid gland also, as well as heart, kidney, etc. Comparing the actual figures before the accident and the current food standard, the tremendous gap is obvious. I truly believe strict control should be implemented, especially for the foods children eat, such as school lunch. Yeah, well, they end up feeding them tainted dolphin meat. You know, it has, what was that they had in there? Geez, hopefully by the time I'm done, I'll think of that one. While there are as many as 75 thyroid cancer children in Fukushima, how could anyone serving for the state be so irresponsible? Among those who supervised the above government's booklet, there were the leukemia expert professor and leading ethos scholar Nobuhiko Ban, who calls me Demarin, Demagogue Mari, and Dr. Tomiko Awasaki, whom I happened to ask a question years ago at a seminar of Health Physics Society. Question: is there any increase of leukemia in Chernobyl? Dr. Awasaki gave me a surprising answer. Since children's skin is fair in Russia, people misunderstand that there are more leukemia children by looking at their photos. Wow. Okay, in addition, I heard that the Ministry of Labor, Health and Welfare stopped collecting the statistics of hospital patients in Fukushima and southern Miyagi after the Fukushima nuclear accident. What is the reason for it? Okay. Most of all, various kinds of diseases, including acute leukemia, are showing increasing trends in the statistics of respective hospitals. For a state, the most important thing should be people's lives, in particular, lives of children and future generations should be of top priority, and there cannot be any more important issue than this. Are there any ministries, agencies that are willing to tackle with this issue? Criminal accusation from Ethos leader, relation between Ethos and the government media coverage specified secrecy law. In February 2014, the package toward returning residents through radiation risk communications, so-called Ethos Japan, was announced. Ethos is a program where residents are encouraged to keep living in contaminated areas through communicating and measuring radiation, etc. Prior to that, at the end of January, I received a phone call from a police notifying that I have been accused by the Ethos leader, Miss Yoko Kamada, for criminal contempt for my word of human experiment Ethos on my Twitter. Since the summer of 2012, when I got to know Ethos in Chernobyl and Fukushima, I sent out lots of tweets to Miss Yoko Ando, the director of Fukushima Ethos, who blocked me and ignored me when I asked for open discussion and finally criminally accused me at this timing. Moreover, though I had tweeted an enormous number of tweets criticizing Ethos for disseminating the information, the subject tweet was only one, and the target word was only human experiment. There are people who say, since the following tweet includes the powerful former Prime Minister Yoshihiro Nagasato, who introduced nuclear power budget to Japan for the first time, Miss Ando might have thought that she would be protected. Mari Takenouchi, Mari's contact tweet under criminal accusation. Okay, the criminals of the century. Former Prime Minister Yasuhiro Nagasato, I have never imagined Japan 2011 would be so exhausted. Mr. Nagasato was the one who introduced nuclear budget to the Diet in 1954. On top of that, he wrote in his memoir that he had built a comfort woman station while he was an accountant for Japanese. Government-sized citizen activist Mr. Yoko Ando, what a world we are seeing 67 years after World War II on the day of Nagasaki. Let me assure you that I have no intention to withdraw my word, human experiment, because I truly believe letting Fukushima children stay in the contaminated areas under the false ICRP safety assurance is the human experiment. It is the human experiment. When we look back the history, quite sadly, human experiments had actually been conducted by Unit 731 with thousands of Japanese medical experts during World War II. At full-fledgedly, and I came to realize through my investigation that the teacher-disciple relationship have been existing since the day of Unit 731 to Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Number 5, Lucky Dragon H-bomb test victims, Chernobyl, HIV-tainted blood products case, and Fukushima. Yeah. We're all an experiment, sweetie. As for the WBC study, Professor Masahiro Kami, Tokyo University Medical Science Institute, is in charge. Amazingly, the purpose of the study says, the purpose of the study is to conduct medical checkup and medical consultations to resolve anxiety of the residents in coastal line areas in Fukushima, greatly damaged by the nuclear disaster, and to study the effects of nuclear disaster on human bodies, including low-level radiation effects. Jeez. Okie dokie. That's pathetic, yeah? Okay, it clearly stipulates the purpose as studying low-level radiation effects on human body. This is nothing but a human experiment using radiation. Moreover, one of my acquaintances heard Professor Kami's personal statement as follows: "It would be impossible to evacuate residents in Fukushima City and Kiriyama City. I guess in the future they will file a class action lawsuit. Minamasoma City is at risk." Minamasoma is one of the cities along, the coastal area of Fukushima where the WBC study is being conducted by Professor Kami himself. In this area at risk, Professor Kami himself is conducting WBC study, including local children and pregnant women, with his subordinate, Dr. Masahiro Subokura. This is nothing but a reoccurrence of Unit 731, evil human experiment with prolonged time span. Yeah, Nazi shit. As a matter of fact, Tokyo University Medical Science Institute used to be a hub for Unit 731 human experiment studies. This kind of atrocities should be dealt with immediately, and there will be no use to be pointed out after many years when many people are already victimized. Children and pregnant women should be protected and evacuated, as many as possible and as soon as possible. I have been pleading the need to evacuate children and pregnant women since the onset of the Fukushima accident. I'm going to have to quit and pick this up again. Carol Roberts, 28/2014. Okie dokie. Mari, I don't know how much longer I can keep this up for you, sweetie. I know, doing so good, rather. And it's hot. My AC went out, my TV went out, my computer went out, and I'm using one, but it's really messed up, so it's going back come Monday. So, it's to who got it for me, a blessed person. This heat is draining me, but anyway, a nice person, a really nice person. Bless her heart. She's just trying to help me out. It's not her fault this computer sucks. But anyway, I can't afford a new one, so I'll be going off air on the 4th when I mail this back to her. So hopefully she can get her money out of those a-holes at Toshiba. I talked to the frickin' head department, or the executive branch in Irvine, California, which I will shortly put those damn videos up too, so the world can know what assholes they are. Try to help somebody in my predicament. But anyway, please excuse me for writing this open letter. Play the radiation effects in Fukushima, and they harass those who worry about Fukushima kids. Not only on Twitter in the summer of 2012, a strange man approached me and picked up my then 2-year-old boy, and I screamed, "I will call the police," and he ran away. Okay, recently there are even people who disclosed the picture of my neighborhood, Nimatoharu, and who even identified my apartment, Joseph Yoko, who is totally a threat for a single mother like me. Joseph Yoko and Motoharu, though many, and I hope, Mari, I'm doing you justice here. You know, my pronunciations of Japanese names leaves a lot to be desired, but I am trying my best. Though many people, including me, reported these harassers to Twitter, these accounts are strangely surviving. Though I reported the above, I mean, the list is long, y'all. Come on, you've heard me say it a zillion times. These children need our help. Please sign the petition below and help her reach her goal to get these little lives to a safe place, be it here in America or somewhere else. Contribute, do whatever, call your representatives, call your congressmen, your senators, your state representatives, something, but somebody get off their ass and help save the children. And be they sent to Australia or some other country that is less vulnerable than what America is, because we are also getting Fukushima, but it's not, even though it's bad here, it is bad here. But anywhere is better than be there in Japan, and to get the pregnant women out. So anyway, I hope you'll listen to her story. Excuse me. And quite sadly, the common points of these harassers are that they downly. My name is Mari Takenouchi. My Twitter account is Mari's Contact, and I am a freelance journalist, translator, and a single mother of a 4-year-old boy. I have been harassed by countless number of Twitter users for more than 2 years for my activities calling for evacuation of Fukushima kids and pregnant women. She has a petition up for that, which I have posted under previous videos. I will post it under this one again. Please help this woman. Get this disseminated to everyone you know, to help get them out of Japan, to save these children. They are suffering needlessly with Fukushima radioactive contamination, fallout, and all that. They are also trucking this cesium-134, cesium-137, tritium, plutonium, strontium-90, gamma rays, isotopes, iodide-131. YouTubers. It is 8/1/2014. Damn y'all, it's a hot motherfucker here. I hope everybody else is being cool. Anyhow, wanted to help out my journalist friend Mari Takenouchi over there in Fukushima, Japan, where her and her son are at. But this is a horrendous story that she's had to go through and endure to help people and to do right. Open questions to Twitter Inc. CEO Mr. Dick Costello. Okay. Please excuse me for writing this open letter suddenly. Let's see if there's a date up here anywhere. Well, yeah, there is, but I can't read Japanese. It says, okay, yeah, it's 7/28/2014. There it is. See that? Let me zoom in. 7/20.